Hey, good people, good morning, happy Friday to you. So, I had a situation that happened last year that I just felt that, I wanted to share with the masses. So, here goes. So, for most people who know me, you know that I'm black, like, black. And I navigate primarily in black spaces because that's where I feel most connected, where I feel most myself. So, I had an opportunity last year to participate in a graduation ceremony at a predominantly white institution, right? Okay. So I knew going in what that was probably going to be like. Okay, so I arrived there like I'm supposed to. I'm in my doctoral regalia from Morgan State, the national treasure. And when I get into this space, and the faculty is primarily white, also, obviously, I'm immediately looking for a face to be connected to. And for all of the white viewers, you should know that that's typically what black people have to do in predominantly white spaces. We look for that connectedness with another face, typically another black face or brown face, that we can be connected to that we may not get otherwise. Just a fact, just something that you should know about. So anyway, I found this sister across the room. I like beeline over to where she's sitting, and I sat next to her. And what I realized in that moment is when I sat down, she never acknowledged me. It was kind of weird. Like, I'm not used to that. Normally, when that happens, there's a automatic kind of like thing going on, but it never happened. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe, the sister's focused on something. Maybe I need to break the ice. So I said, hey, my name is Edwin. First time participating in the graduation ceremony. Happy to be here, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, that's nice. Nice to meet you. And I'm like, yeah, we technically haven't met because you haven't even told me your name, but whatever. So I thought that was odd. So I'm like, okay, let me give it a second try. Maybe something else is going on. So I said something like, it's a really nice campus. Yeah, the campus is really nice. And she was like, yeah, it is. Okay, strike two, heifer. Like, so I'm done at this point. All right. So now I'm in this space where I'm feeling like almost deflated, right? Because the only face that I'm trying to be connected to, that I thought I should be connected to, is like totally giving me the cold shoulder. So now I'm like, okay, I'm going to fulfill my obligation for being here, get this thing over with, and then I'm going on about my business. Just kind of call it like it is. So I'm standing in line. We're getting ready to process into the graduation ceremony, into the auditorium. And I'm standing in the front of the line, and I get a tap on my shoulder. And I turn around, and it was his sister. I have no idea where she came from or who she was. We had never met before. And when I turned around, she was like, hey, you went to Morgan. I didn't go to an HBCU. I never had that experience. What was it like? And immediately in that moment, I felt like my energy level rising, like my confidence rising, everything, just my interest, my excitement, everything was just rising in that moment because I had found the connectiveness that I was looking for in the first sister, but for whatever reason, I couldn't get it. So we're connecting. We're talking about HBCUs versus PWIs. We're talking about Game of Thrones, all kind of stuff. And now we're processing into the graduation ceremony. When I tell you, when I walked into that space, I know for a fact that I in some way connected with every black face in that auditorium. And there weren't that many. I mean, it was like scattered around. But it's almost that thing that black people have when we really feel connected to each other, when we're in the same space. It's almost like that, yeah. And then you give them back that, yeah. And like, you just feel connected in that way. Like you kind of build each other out, even without saying a word. That's just kind of what happens in those spaces. And in that moment, I thought to myself, now what would have happened had I not been connected with the second sister? If I came into this space with like a diminished level of energy and excitement about that moment that I had from the encounter with the first sister, and it, what effect might that have had on this larger space with all of these people who, you know, otherwise may not have been connected in that way? Like what a horrible thought that would be, that missed opportunity would occur because I was in a place where I didn't want to be there. I wasn't feeling connected, and so therefore the energy that I'm putting off is just kind of like I'm just trying to get it done. It's trying to move on. And I wonder how many of us miss those opportunities in our daily lives because we're stuck in a place of like self-centeredness, or just only being concerned about our own thoughts and feelings and not really thinking about the larger picture. So what does all of this mean? Well, so 2 points. Number one, in the black church we say a lot that God may not come when you want him to, but he's always right on time. And in thinking about that, I'm really grateful that in that moment God gave me what I needed in order to fulfill what needed to happen in that larger space. Looking back on it in hindsight, I realized that that was an opportunity. That was an opportunity to be connected with people in a way that I probably wouldn't have had otherwise, right? And if in that moment I had been stuck in my own self centeredness, it would have had a negative effect on the way that I connected with those people. And who knows what that connectedness means to somebody else. For me, it was like affirmation. But for other people, it could have been anything. It could have been, an encouragement to go back to school or to finish some project or to be connected with other people. You just don't know. And if we're stuck in our own negative energy out, we miss opportunities to be connected with people in a larger scale. Second thing, of course, and it's self-explanatory, we always got to be mindful of the energy that we put out into the world. And so, what do we mean by that? Well, again, no man is an island. We're all here. Our spirits are designed in such a way that we need to be connected with other people. And if we're putting out an off-putting energy, it blocks that from happening. So this is applicable to all people, but particularly, if you're in the helping profession, if you're an educator, if you're in the health field, or even if you're somebody who's taking care of a loved one for whatever reason, maybe they're up in age or maybe they're ill. If I'm putting out a negative energy to that person, we need to realize that that could even have an impact on how worthwhile they feel about living. Right? There are some people who say, I don't want to be a burden to my family. And if we're giving them that type of energy, then they're feeling like they don't even need to be here. Like, why am I even here just to be a problem for somebody else? So who knows? So I just wanted to put that out into the space that we always got to be careful about the energy that we put out. I have no idea what just happened, but hey, maybe that means it's time to cut. And just being connected with people. And it all really draws back to the biblical principle of just loving on one another. We need to be more loving in our interactions with other people. We use like big complex words like interconnectedness and all that kind of stuff, but it really is just about spreading love and being connected to people in a loving and caring way. So as is typically said in social media, I don't know who needs this, but here it is. Basically, here it is. So hopefully it's helpful. Hopefully it'll be useful in somebody's life and something that you're going through or something that is happening or something that may happen in the future. Who knows? But let me know what you think about it. Holla back. Peace. Love y'all. Have a good weekend.